Hello. Welcome everyone to the chat for You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I'm going to get everybody told the books now because Beth has a really cool proof copy. We're not all jealous of that. It looks really vintage. I love it. I'm so excited to chat about this one with you because I've purposely not talked to any of you about what you think, and I've got lots of thoughts, so I'm really ready to get into it. As usual, my lovely other half will appear in the comments as me, because I've got 3 signed book plates to give away for people who come on to comment, so please do that. Is there anything else I need to tell you? So we are going to chat about the book. It will be a spoiler-filled discussion. I feel like this has been a very interesting one, perfect for August, a summer camp slasher. Went in some directions I did not expect. I don't think anyone could predict some of the things that this book had, although, first spoiler alert, feel a bit silly for not noticing Little Owl on the cover until I'd finished reading it. I was like, oh yeah.
There's one by the moon as well.
Yeah, I didn't notice
that. Well, I didn't until, in fact, I think it might have been Kev who pointed out to me, and I was like, oh, got it. Spoilers on the front cover. Nice. So I'm going to start by letting everybody introduce themselves. We'll jump to the comments in case anybody has got anything to say to begin with, and then we'll get straight to chatting about the book. I can't wait. So let's go around the group. Do you want to tell us all a little bit about where you talk about books and a little bit about yourself? Do you want to start us off, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm Sharon, obviously. Sharon Joy Reads, and I mainly started on TikTok, but I also review books on Instagram, and I've just started a YouTube channel, which I'm finding my way with because the whole camera thing's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously on Goodreads and Storygraph and Facebook now. I've got a Facebook page, so I review books because I love books and I love chatting to people about books. But yeah, that's me.
Sharon reads very scary horror, so while we're on the horror discussion, if anybody would like some horror recommendations, Sharon is here.
Yeah. Not that way.
And I don't know. I know I don't dare point anymore because honestly, I never know. I'm quite often convinced that a person is here, but then it comes out on the screen and it's the opposite side. So I'm just not going to point. So Beth, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Beth. I'm from The Books Are Everywhere. I'm mainly on YouTube, although admittedly I've not been the best at posting recently because I've not long moved house. And I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, a blog that's also not very up to date. But yes, when I try my best, I'm on YouTube.
Oh, I know that feeling. If I didn't have Kev nudging me and editing the videos, I don't think I'd have any at all. And you kind of read, is it safe to say you read pretty much everything, Beth? You sort of... You seem to read quite a range of genres.
Yeah, I have a pretty diverse reading taste. I'd probably say fantasy, but also, contemporary romance, YA, adult. I do read a lot.
Okay, and how about you, Paula? Do you want to give a little introduction about where we can find you and what you read?
Yeah, hi, Paula from Family and Books. Have the YouTube. I have Instagram and TikTok, but because I have chronic pain condition and an autistic 6-year-old, I don't get to post as much as I'd like to. But, it's there when it's there.
Yeah, I know that feeling about posting and child and the rest of it. I think life tends to get in the way of posting about books, doesn't it? But
you may hear him in the other room chatting away.
It's fine. No, we're used to animal noises, children noises from my end, occasional husband noises from my end as well.
Monsters, all sorts.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in this room. I mean, it's if the things behind me start crawling that you've got to worry. And I also noticed the ghost face is visible today, so you can just see monsters all around me. Okay, so let's jump to the comments and then we'll get straight to the first question because I am so interested to know what people thought of this one.
Yes.
Hi, Stephen. I mean, I'm really shocked that it's September. It's just arrived upon me. I've got a book coming out in just under 2 weeks and it's spooky season and it's just taken me by surprise. You'd think I'd know that it was going to be September, but no. Hi, Amelia.
Hi, Amelia.
Hi.
Katie.
Hi, Katie. Ah, so we've got our first opinion in the group. Nice. I'm glad you all enjoyed it.
Hi, Andres.
Oh, interesting. That's so funny.
That was probably planned, Mills.
Yeah.
It is. All
Hooray.
year, to be fair.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, to be me and Sharon particularly, I think we read like it is all year, don't we? And
Yeah.
like, I haven't decorated for Halloween. I was saying to Beth before, this is just
Don't need to.
how things look here.
Yeah.
I know everybody says they're decorating for Halloween. I'm like, I don't really know what more I could do, to be honest. I mean, the pumpkins are all out all year round. I spread them out around the house a bit more at Halloween. Yeah.
So the only reason why I like Halloween so much is because I get new house decor, because
Yeah,
they start putting new stuff on the shelves. So it's like, yeah, let's go.
I wanted a gigantic spider on my roof, but my husband said no because I'd scare the locals. Because I'm surrounded by elderly people.
Oh,
You know what I mean? We're the youngest, and I'm in my 50s, so that tells you something.
Just means they'd actually get to see it.
I think it'd
You know,
scare them to
they've
death.
got bad eyesight. It's fine.
But I think it'd be fun when the kids come, because I get loads of kids. I'm known as Mrs. Halloween in the area, so I'm the only one who decorates for Halloween outside, and they all come to me on Halloween. And I thought it'd be great, you know, kid and a little spider's leg comes down and touches them. I thought I think it'd be fun. But supposedly it's too much.
mine would love it, although you'd insist on holding the spider, and you'd be like, "No, it's not a pet one, darling. It's just a toy spider." He was the kid who, when they brought all the creepy crawlies to the farm, who wanted told everything was good, that he couldn't hold a tarantula because you had to be 6. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sad. What a shame." Right?
Because of the size of the hand.
I think it's because little children can be jumpy, and if they jump, they can like flick the spider. So, everyone, let's go around the group and do a little what did we think of the book. I'll start off by saying that I really enjoyed it. It was quite different from what I expected. I think I wanted more of some things, maybe less of others, like owls. I don't know. We can talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, I thought it was a good. I don't really star rate books, but it was fairly up there for me as a really fun, good read. How about you, Beth? Do you rank books? I can never remember when people do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
although seeing as I've only just finished this in the past couple of hours, I will admit to everybody, I haven't thought about it too much yet, but I would maybe around a 3.5, 4 stars.
Okay.
I feel like I have very similar thoughts to you, Amy, that I did enjoy it. I appreciate how quick it was. It was very fast paced. I didn't want to put it down. And I did enjoy a lot of elements of it. Definitely went in places that I didn't expect it to. And I could have probably taken a little bit less of some things as well, as you've said. And I'm sure we'll get into that discussion. But a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, and actually, books like that don't tend to surprise me. And there were a couple of surprises in that where I went, "Hang on, what? Let me just think."
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Like the reveal of, what's he called, Kyle, being related to the, and them being a couple, the person who ran the farm and the and the
gun-toting grandma. She was great.
Yeah.
She was great.
So I was, the whole that family relationship thing I thought was really good actually, and very like horror movie faithful. How about you, Sharon? What did you think of this one?
I thought I enjoyed it. I thought it was very quick pace. It's a couple of hours read, isn't it? It's really quick. But I think it suffered from an identity crisis. Is my opinion. So the beginning was like a YA, and it was good fun. It was very immersive. The camp environment, I thought, lent itself very well to that kind of creepy kind of paranoia. I thought that was really excellent. I thought the friendships were really good. But then it went into really kind of cosmic, supernatural, almost adult horror, which I love. And that actually wasn't enough for me. I thought it held back because it was trying to be YA, when that could have really been a fantastic thread. I thought it didn't give me enough.
It felt a little bit, I was just going to say, it felt like it hadn't decided whether it was going to be supernatural or not to me. The people dressed up as an owl, I was like, oh, cool, we're not supernatural at all with people dressed up and, you know. And then it went supernatural. I was like, hang on. And I feel like that, I don't know, it felt like it could have been a bit more decisive to me on that one.
The beginning, the first half of the book, I thought was fantastic. It was proper had slasher vibes, that summer kind of slasher feel to it. There was tropes in it, you know, don't have sex, otherwise you're going to die. You know, that kind of thing. There was all those tropes in it. And then it went weird. It's not that I didn't enjoy that. I just thought, I don't think it knows where it is. So for me, it was about 3.5 and 4 too.
And it's a very short book, I think, to be indecisive. It didn't have the space to kind of meander, did it? How about you, Paula? What did you think of it?
I gave it a 4. stars. I mean, my brain automatically, no matter what I'm reading, if it's a mystery element, my brain will always try and figure out who done it. And I can't help that side of my brain. So I kind of figured out who it was gonna be quite early on, but that didn't take away from anything, and there were still a couple of twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. So that was good. I enjoyed that, and it definitely is a quick read, super fast paced. Read it in a day, and yeah, basically the same with the whole split personality thing. But it's one of those where it kind of worked with it. But yeah, it definitely could have gone extra, like, you know, Jason Gore style, but it didn't.
Yeah, I think the only other thing as well, I really enjoyed the reveals, and I did find myself like quite shocked by them and gasping, and I enjoyed finding like the body finds and stuff. I thought were great. But I was a bit sad that 2 of the reveals were people that we hadn't met. It was like her stepfather, Charity's stepfather, was kind of in on it, wasn't he? This is me who's read it 2 weeks ago, so I'm checking. I am actually right about this. And also the camp owner, I kind of would have liked to have met him, I think, to be able to have formed the judgment. I felt when it was revealed that he was in on it, I was like, oh, I would have liked to have met him, because I obviously didn't have many suspicions because he wasn't on the page.
Yeah, so but it was he let a 16-year-old basically run this entire
That
account.
was weird.
It's like, yeah, he's a bit sus.
Yeah, pretty big red flag. And also, like, never go in that room. Definitely don't go in that room. Just don't go in the room, okay? Don't go in it. It's got really sensitive stuff in. Just don't touch them. Yeah, don't touch them. Yeah. I mean, what teenager is going to go, okay, I'm not going to go in there.
She did, apparently. It's just like, oh, there's just other stuff in it. Just don't go.
I did the whole season before they went in there. I mean, I'd have been in there the first day picking the lock.
As soon as somebody said don't look in, I'd have just been like challenged. Yeah. I'm going in there. It's like kids, isn't it? What does your toddler do if you say don't touch that? Yeah, touch it again just to make sure.
Yeah,
I'm a toddler.
Yeah, well, me too, Sharon. To be fair, I was thinking of myself in that scenario.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. So we've talked about a couple of things I want to delve into more. Let me just go to the comments and see if anybody's got something to add before we get to them. So I haven't read any more of Callum Bayron's books, but I will after reading this one. But as you said, Amelia, I think I'd go for, if she does more horror, I think that's what I would go for. I think the more fantasy fairy tale ones weren't as much my thing.
Oh, bless you.
Bless Jen. That
Hello,
is dedication. Oh, I'm sorry you can't sleep. If you're still there, I hope you're asleep now. I'm so excited. I think I just get excited earlier every year, to be honest. Oh, thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kev's put a reminder in. So the In Nightfall book plates, if anybody watching won one, I'm really sorry, they were sent from Europe and they have not arrived. So I'm going to have to figure out whether, I think there's major issues with the post between the EU and us at the minute, or it's just got lost. I don't know. So if they don't turn up soon, I'm just going to post some more to Suzanne and try again. So apologies if you won. I will get there. I'll get it sorted. Yes, I mean,
September is the whole of Halloween Eve.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed that some shops like Asda informed me that they don't decorate for Halloween yet and put their stuff out. I was like, what do you mean? Where's the Halloween stuff? It's been in TK Maxx since like July.
I went into B&M the other day and they've got Christmas stuff out.
What? Yeah. No, I'm not ready for that. I don't think it can be Christmas until after Halloween. I think
I think it gets earlier and earlier every year. Like they'll put out Halloween stuff in July, beginning of August, and it's like if you're not quick enough, everything's been picked over, and then that's it. No more Halloween stuff. And then from like middle of August to the beginning of September, they're already pushing Christmas, and it's just like, no, just let us have our holiday.
There needs to be like an embargo. You know, certain books, it's like it's embargo. Nobody can talk about it. Nobody can open it. I think that should be the case with Christmas. Like you cannot open it until after Halloween. That's my 2 pence.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that a second book would be great, Katie, because I thought that the ending,
was fabulous. I thought the ending was brilliant.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, what are the consequences of that? Like, is she human? Is she all there? Is she fine? I'm assuming she's not a ghost, but I kind of wanted to see the aftermath of that. So I think it'd be great to know. I feel like things like that normally have a massive, like, cost, don't they? Like, if you can bring somebody back. And I want to know what that cost is. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad you enjoyed it. Yes, yeah, definitely. Or I don't know, even like an immediate follow-up. Sometimes I quite like there's some books I read years ago called Generation Dead, which was about like any teenager who died came back as sort of a zombie, and depending on how they died and how long they were dead, they were like varying degrees of zombie. So some almost looked like they were still alive, and some were like really zombified. And the first book ended where one of the characters died, and it picked up immediately after the second book, and I loved that. Like I think certain books like that where it's such a visceral, like you have to know the immediate aftermath.
Knowing teenagers, how would you tell?
Well, to be honest, that was the whole Shaun of the Dead thing, wasn't it? I loved that he didn't notice that people were zombies until like 20 minutes into the film because they were just acting like the normal selves. Genius. I need to watch that again.
I also think that the ending, I think it's in that sweet spot of where it's like, yeah, you want to know more, but it also is a kind of perfect slasher ending.
It's ambiguous. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's funny because then your imagination goes like, okay,
maybe this, maybe this, maybe this.
Yeah.
I think Callum Bayron knows the genre really well, as you said, Sharon. Like the tropes were definitely like there in abundance.
Yeah.
So Amelia thinks it reminds her of something. Yeah, definitely Camp Fear. God, I want to read that again.
I haven't read that in so long.
Yeah, it's so good. I wonder if
I
Shelley will
agree.
do it soon if we give her a little nudge. Yeah, I think I don't know whether that's sometimes a thing of being a fan of adult horror, and like I guess in that Callum Bayron is, and that she watches it, and it's hard, isn't it, to know how far to push it with YA sometimes, but I'd be happy with a YA reading it. Yes, that's going to be one of the things I'm going to talk about to everybody, although we touched on it a bit. Yeah, Camp Fear. I hope you're enjoying it, Stephen. That is good timing. It's
such a good book. It's so good. I can't wait for the 12 bones to come out.
Cozy, romantic, spooky. It's great for this time of year, especially. Me too. Let's see. Yes, definitely. Okay, so let's go there. Thank you, Andreas, for giving us a nice segue into one of the things I was going to say, the characters, because I think YA characters, although I'm a huge YA fan, it's not always the strongest element of the book. I think YA can be quite plot focused in this kind of book, pulling us along at breakneck speed. I thought that managed to do this, but I really cared about the characters as well and thought they were really interesting, multifaceted. I did guess straight away, I think maybe we were meant to, that absent people were dead people. But yeah, the characters that were actually on the page I thought were great. So Paula, do you want to start us off? What were your thoughts of the characters? Did you have any favourites, and did you have any strong feelings about them?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my brain tries to figure things out instantaneously. So every time we like met a character, I was like picking apart their characteristics and okay, like if this was a slasher film, okay, you're the really annoying one, like you'll survive for a while. Oh, you're the goody goody two shoes, so you're probably gonna be the killer. And then but no, I think they did a good mix of people, like, you know, from like all walks of life, and the way they interacted with each other felt very real. It didn't feel like, you know, oh, it's just, you know, plotless characters. It felt like they were actually fleshed out, even though we didn't get a lot of fleshing out in the book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it felt like a lot was left off the page, but the things that it told you, you could fill in the gaps, like about Charity's home life. You weren't told loads, but you could kind of tell that she would rather be working at a camp where she pretends to be, you know, running from a serial killer than being at home. I think that says a lot. And I think that is one of the great things of YA, like showing at a very like volatile time of your life where you're figuring yourself out. I think this book did that really well. How about you, Beth? What were your thoughts on the characters? Did you have any favourites or strong feelings?
Yeah, I did really like they had a bit of a found family, I think, aspect to it. I think Bezzy was probably my favourite character, but I did really like Charity and Bezzy's relationship. And I also liked that they had the kind of friendship with the three of them where they all seemed very close. And aside from that, I think maybe there were, in my opinion, too many characters for a 200-page book, because I didn't really feel like I connected to anybody outside of those 2 or 3 characters. And I did feel like the rest of the characters, like Kyle, and I mean, I read it today and I couldn't tell you the names of everybody.
No.
And maybe that's my brain, or maybe that's I just feel like I didn't really connect to the others that well.
Yeah, is that the slasher thing of that some people, I do it myself, some people are just introduced to die. Like they are kind of going to be like, you know, fodder for the serial killer, aren't they? And yeah, I think that she definitely seemed to drill down the author into the characters that she really wanted you to kind of feel for and follow through the book. But yeah, I completely agree. I thought the relationships between the three girls, it was great. And like, I don't think I've seen that often, like a romantic relationship between the girls and then a friendship as part of that too. It seemed really real, like real teenagers, and I liked that.
Yeah.
How about you, Sharon? You mentioned Gun-Toting Grandma was a fave, but anything else to say?
I thought they all kind of fitted a very a stereotype in a way of characters within a slasher film. So as you said, that relationship between Bezzy and Charity and Paige was really sweet. Do you know, they were really quite, I thought that was, and it was obvious it was a long-standing, the way it was set up. That was really, really good. Porter, who was the bloke who knew his way around,
Yeah.
he was completely unforgettable. He just was there to die, so it was immediately obvious, right? Tasha and Gavier, they really annoyed me. You know, the ones who broke the cardinal rule. Don't do hanky panky.
They bumped the uglies.
Don't do hanky panky in a horror film. No. Kyle was the classic nice guy, so it was obviously he was a baddie. And then yeah, the gun-toting grandma. He's gun-toting grandma, Mr. and Mrs. Neal, I think it was. I absolutely loved them. I thought they were brilliant, and I really liked the sheriff. And you know, the mad woman, the mad shooty woman. I loved her too. And Mr. Lamont, what was he about? Leaving a load of teenagers running a camp. All these people going missing. He's off somewhere gallivanting. Just do what you can. That was crazy. So they all kind of fitted a stereotype, didn't they?
Yeah.
And once the Owl Society came in, it was obvious then, you know, who the killers were. And yeah. So yeah, I like the characters, but as I said, as you all said, I like the three, especially Bezzy and Charity. I loved their relationship. I loved those two. I was surprised at the end which one of them died.
Yeah.
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 I expected it the other way around.
Yeah, I think it's clever, isn't it, having a main character be the one that doesn't make it. Like she wasn't the final girl, although she sort of was. And they told, I think I like it when in a book they tell you all the way through something to the point where you believe it. I believe she was going to be the final girl because she was it in the scenes that she played. Yeah, I thought that was clever.
It was really obvious though. It was like, you know, I'm a final girl. I'm going to get through this. It's like, no, you're not.
Do you know, I believed them though. I was like, she is going to be, because like, I don't know, she seemed quite untouchable as a character. I thought like she had all the virtues of the final girl. But yeah,
I'm just a super skeptical wench.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
I expected one of those two to be to survive.
Yeah,
but I did expect it would be her because she was set up for it. But I was happy it was the other one.
yeah, I thought it worked well.
I agreed with that too.
Wyatt.
I have real thoughts about this book. So about the kind of supernatural elements and the Owl Society, let's tackle it head on. What did we think of that? Because I don't know whether to me it was a little silly. Like, I like silly, but it lessened the horror a little bit for me that somebody was running around dressed as an owl. And I don't know, I think the supernatural element tying into that was quite clever because I didn't expect it to have a real like application that what they were doing was actually going to work. Yeah, I don't know. That was the bit where I went, oh no, I thought this was going the way it didn't go the way I kind of wanted. What did you think, Paula, when you got to owls? And
it kind of reminded me of, like, you know, the episodes of Buffy where there's the random like college dudes or the high school dudes that like I must summon a demon or kill someone, you know. So it's like I wasn't expecting the real supernatural element to it, and it was like, even though it worked, it did feel like you could have picked either one or the other. So I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. Right now, I'm like, should you have kept it all together, or should you have done one? Should you have done the other? But you know,
I quite like the fact, like in hindsight, thinking about it, that it did give me a strong sense of what is happening. What is happening? Why is somebody dressed as an owl running around a summer camp attacking teenagers? Like, I quite like being surprised. It doesn't happen to me that often. So although I didn't love it as a choice, somehow I did enjoy it for that it was so random. How about you, Beth? What were your thoughts on the owl and the supernatural? I
feel
can't say
very
without laughing. I'm trying to be serious, but it's a giant owl.
I feel very similar to you because I just don't find paranormal, supernatural. Sorry, I don't find supernatural horror scary. So the moment you bring in something like that, I just don't find it scary anymore. I think personally, I would have much preferred it to have been real. That it was somebody, just a person running around. I would have found that personally much more terrifying. And I think when you bring something like you said, it just felt a little bit ridiculous. And I like the idea of the cult and that the fact that there was a society. I thought that was really cool. But then you bring in, like you said, somebody that's appears as an owl. I feel like it takes away from it a bit. And it felt less grounded to me because of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Something that pulls you out of the story is a bold choice, isn't it? And I think for me that it kind of pulled me out a little.
Yeah,
what were your thoughts when you saw Owl? Did you cheer or did you kind of go, oh no?
I thought to begin with, it leans into that whole kind of horror trope of the masked killer. And so I thought to begin with, oh, okay, somebody like dressed up like Ghostface or Michael, and they're a murderer, they're a serial killer, and replaying what the original bloke did at the camp, Addison, I think his name was, wasn't it? So I thought to begin with that was okay, and then you threw in that whole cultic aspect. And then it just felt like it wasn't pushed far enough. I like as you know, I like really extreme violent horror, and to me that should have been pushed into an adult extreme novel, and that would have been fantastic. It didn't give enough for me. And owls, and I thought I understand why they chose owls, because owls in mythology are not only have wisdom, but they also are the guides of the dead. So they move the dead into the afterlife. So I could understand that, but that wasn't kind of gone into, and that could have made it more interesting. And then it was like, it didn't really explain, did it, that if they sacrificed the person, who gave them the power? It wasn't explained who that was. They had to fall into a lake and bleed, but who was it? That was was it some kind of supernatural force, or what was it? And that wasn't explained at all. So I think there was a lot of things left unsaid.
Yeah, it maybe confused the issue, I think, having the prior slasher, because that did say copycat. And I think maybe the thought was to make it unpredictable and surprising because you expect copycat and you didn't get it, which, is clever in a way. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I've seen people reviewing the book, and quite often it's really positive, but then you can see there's just this thing where they're like, I wasn't sure about that, and I wonder if it's the same thing we're all not sure about.
I just wanted more. I think if she'd have separated those two halves into two books, they would have been great. Do you know what I mean? And I think that she had two really great ideas, and she kind of bunged them into one. Although it's fun, and I didn't dislike it, it was fun. I would have liked both of them to have been more rounded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I think, a duology or something where the two things could knit together, the slasher to the other side of it. Yeah, maybe it's the word count, isn't it? And the making it the really tightly plotted, tense, quick thing, which is great in a lot of ways, but it didn't allow some elements to come out.
Maybe, it could have been a case of like she started at YA, and then as she was writing more, it felt more adult. But publishers are like, well, no, we want a YA book, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you don't know what editing goes into a book, and like where you're told to rein stuff in and where you're not. So yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? But yeah, I think some YA has gone pretty extreme in recent years, but I think more often than not, you can feel that there is that extra level it would have gone if it was adult. Andreas,
some gory bits in this, some really gory bits. The people underneath the pages of Gavier, wasn't it? Under the, broken up under the
Oh,
sofa.
yeah.
I thought actually was quite an horrific image. Some of the deaths were really good. I thought.
Yes. So interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize maybe that was a nod to Batman.
It could be.
There were lots of references, weren't there? Oops, comments jumping around. Yes, I
Yeah.
think that they were firm faves. Yeah, the
Yes.
sheriff's motivation was very interesting to me
Yeah.
because why? I always want to know with characters like that, like why make that choice to kind of be on that side of things? Yes. Yeah, actually, can we have a prequel and a sequel while we're at it? Because that could probably expand on some of the stuff. I mean, maybe that's in the works. Maybe the publishers are thinking, this is why it was shut. We're going to do loads more.
Yeah.
Yeah. yeah, true. And also because they're in that heightened slasher world that they've been living in all the summer, I do think that because I read and watch a lot of slashers, I would go to serial killer probably quicker than a lot of people would.
Yeah, and it's set in, sorry to cut you off, but it's set in this day and age. It's like, yes, cell reception, because American, but cell reception is spotty, but you all have mobile phones, you all have these devices. It's like, try a little bit harder to get in contact with the people.
Yeah, that is a problem, I think, of like modern fiction in general. Set books in 1995, that's what I say. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because it is like literally,
even.
I don't know whether any of you have read The Last Girl by Golja Moldovsky. It's really, really good. It's a slasher about a group of teens who have like a murder, a club that watches horror movies together, and then like real murders start happening. And because they're all quite aware of horror tropes, they're kind of using that to survive. But yeah, I interviewed Goldie and she was like, mobile phones, man. Like, honestly, at the end, she's like, what can I do with this mobile phone? Oh, dropped in the snow. What a shame. It's in the snow.
Shucks. Well, they're making them waterproof now.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. You have to come up with something else. It's really difficult, isn't it? Like modern technology can kind of ruin a slasher if you're not careful. But yeah, I think I tend to accept the spotty Wi-Fi as a thing because I'm like, yeah, I understand. I understand the problem you're having with this. Yes, we all would like a prequel.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you for coming on.
Hi.
You can always watch the beginning bit that you've missed if you tuned in late. Ah, that's cool. You are very well behaved. I normally do that, but I totally broke my own rules this month and just I had a bit of time one day and I just carried on reading and suddenly I got to the end. Yeah, I mean, I think Sharon there's something to be said, isn't there, for the mythology side of it? But I think if you don't share that with the reader, what you need is a Jared, like in my books. Jared knows everything, so he tells you the interesting stories to make sure that you, as a reader, can pick up on it all. Because I think it's good to have some characters who don't know stuff that are like, oh, like Libby just goes, don't tell us the stories. Come on. He's like, let me tell you the story. I think that gives the reader an extra something, doesn't it? If that is the reason, Sharon, it would have been great if that was in there. Because it could have been any animal and maybe a scarier one, like if that's what they were going for. Actually, I was really surprised by that because I just really expected them to just be a bunch of people who really thought it was working, but it actually was. I felt that the whole way through, actually. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. The whole perennial horror movie thing, isn't it? Of we'll just stay in the house a bit longer. That's fine, isn't it? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. No. Honestly, at the moment, I've been missing the moon just because it's summer and I don't seem to see like go out at night much.
It was a blue moon.
Was it?
Yesterday, day before.
No, I missed that.
Pink here. Pink sky.
Oh, nice. No, at night time I'm just like a little hobbit in my hobbit hole. I just don't do much. Oh, hi Katrina.
Hi Katrina.
Yes, I think prequel and sequel, a lot of the things that we're saying, like the potential was all there. I think that that would just allow everything that we're saying to be expanded upon. So maybe we just need to wait a year or two and we'll get the answers that we seek. So we've talked a little bit about the plot, like in terms of what we predicted and things. I predicted very little with this one. I don't know whether it was my mindset at the point, but every twist and turn a couple of them I got, but most of them I was like, oh, really? I was just wondering, did it keep you guessing? How much of it did you predict? Sharon, I think, did you say you predicted most of it?
Yeah. I think it. Yeah, I think it. It was pretty predictable. I think not that I didn't enjoy that. What I really liked about this was the camp setting.
Mm.
I really liked. I thought that lent itself very well to a kind of a creepiness because there was all these underground passages and doors they could go through. It was set up as a an immersive horror experience. So you already had that in place, and I thought that was a great setting.
Yeah, and
For
I
it.
think they did utilize it as well. I feel like
They
they were
really
like, oh
did.
yeah, we can use this trapdoor, we can use this way out. We know this place, and we can, send the people who know the area out on the recon. It didn't necessarily go well, but they had the right idea, bless them.
So when they left the camp, I felt like it lost its way a little bit. When they were in the camp, I enjoyed those parts more.
I think as soon as you lose some of the characters and you don't know what they're doing, it is difficult, isn't it? And I think that's the thing with first-person narrative. You've kind of got the main character, if possible, needs to be where the most action is. Otherwise, you feel like you've missed something. How about you, Paula? Did you predict most of it, or did it surprise you?
I did. And as a D&D player and stuff, there's a saying that you never split the party.
Yeah.
And that's the same with like a horror movie. You never split up. Stay together, weapon up, fight what's coming at you. Simple. But no one ever does it.
Unless there's a time limit, that's the thing. Like if there's some pressure of you've got to get to somewhere, you've got to get out because there's this, or you've got to get to this person in this time. I think then I understand. Like the Saw type scenario where they're under pressure and they have to make decisions. I think that I can understand the splitting up things, but yeah, otherwise don't do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
How about you, Beth? Did you predict it all? I mean, you read it all today, so it's all really fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
Like, what did you manage to predict?
I feel like the same as you, Amy. I don't really predict things when I'm reading them. I just don't really think that much about what's going to happen. But then when the reveals did happen, I was not surprised at all.
Yeah.
I was very, very much like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Especially with the stepdad. I think he's called Rob. Especially with that reveal, I was like, yeah, of course. He's like one of the only characters that we haven't really heard from, but he's also, we know he's not a good guy.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that twist coming, but like you say, it was kind of like, well, well, duh.
Yeah. Yeah,
I quite
so
like that. I was just going to say the surprise element that isn't a surprise. Like you said, I did go, oh, I didn't predict that because for whatever reason I read this one without doing much predicting. But yeah, everything did slot in. I find it annoying when a twist doesn't make sense and it comes. You feel like you've had the rug pulled out from under you. I think they all were set up. If you look back, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get that one. So I think I've kind of asked a lot of the questions. One thing I didn't put on the list of what I was going to ask you, what did you think of all the horror tropes? Because I think I saw a review of it online that said that a YA audience won't necessarily get all the references, but I actually quite like that I think that you might introduce young adults to something that for the first time, like they might not have come across the final girl trope. They might not have heard of some of the stuff that was being referenced and then seek it out. And I like that. And I think I probably didn't even get all the horror references, but I got a lot of them. I wondered what you thought about that, like the place of that in a YA book and how you experienced it as an adult. What did you think, Beth?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I mean, I am not a massive horror watcher. I found it really fun. I thought it was really entertaining. And now looking back, although I didn't think about it at the time, but now looking back on the book, I keep thinking about Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just found it really entertaining.
And it didn't hamper you not being a massive horror fan. You didn't feel that you lost anything by not maybe getting all the references and stuff.
No, I don't feel like the references are explicit enough that you think something said and you've missed it. I feel like it's probably subtle enough that they just passed me by if I didn't really understand. And it's more the tropes that it follows, which I'm might not necessarily be able to say like, oh, I've seen that in that movie or that movie,
Yeah.
but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but you enjoy the trope as it happens, even if you don't know the source material.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. How about you, Paula? What did you think of the horror tropiness of it?
I liked it. It's one of those where it's kind of horrors, like formulaic, like most books are like, like romance is formulaic and all the other stuff where it's like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. And even though I got most of the references, I mean, it's probably going to be something that flew by, but I think a lot of horror tropes are so ingrained in popular culture so much now that I don't think even like a younger reader coming to it will be completely like thrown off by them. They'll be like, oh yeah, I heard about that somewhere, or because it's such a big part of popular culture now. But,
yeah, and I think if you've not been exposed to it, you can still enjoy it as a story. I found it an interesting take from like whatever review it was I read, and I was like, oh well, I still think you can enjoy it even if you don't like get every reference. How about you, Sharon? What did you think of the horror tropiness?
Yeah, I enjoyed those. Apart from the whole hanky panky one and not being separated, and and not going out, don't go over to that place alone, and the dead owls being left as a warning. I mean, there were so many, and I mean, the big one, I suppose, was that kind of horror trope of each kill causing people to become stronger. Very much Michael Myers kind of thing, So each kill makes the lake stronger for some reason we don't know about, but makes everybody else rich. I quite like that, and I loved the ending, as I said, where is subverted actually the horror trope of the final girl. So I thought that was really well done. I really enjoyed that.
I mean, even the camp setting as a whole is like Jason.
It is.
It's like instantaneously you think like oh, it's a horror camp. Oh well, hello.
Where's the knife? That's what you're thinking, isn't it, all the way through. Where's the geezer with the knife?
Yeah.
You're waiting for it.
Yeah, so what would you, if you were in that situation, would you go to an immersive horror experience? That's the question. I feel like
yes, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yes, I'd love to.
Not a contact one though. Like the contact element of it, I was like, I don't think I can go. Like I've had people jumping and screaming in my face and stuff, but no, they're not allowed to touch me, and that's fine. I think
give me a weapon, they wouldn't. Give me a weapon and let me loose.
Yeah. Chris went on. It was a friend's like stag party. I couldn't go because of like stuff. But they were like, it was like zombie paintball, where it's like it was like a full like immersive thing. Like the zombies could like come out and like get you and stuff, but they couldn't actually. You couldn't make contact with them. They couldn't make contact with you. But if they kind of like tagged you or paint whatever. But there was just this like film of Chris, like there's a zombie like going right at Chris, and he's just got the gun, and he's just holding the gun to the zombie's chest and just pushing it backwards. And I'm like, I couldn't do that because my fight or flight response is way too high. It's like I'm always gonna fight, so if something jumps out at me and scares me, it's gonna get punched in the face.
Yeah, me too.
I can't. I feel like that's an occupational hazard of one of those places, isn't it? We went on our honeymoon to LA, and we went in this like on one of the studio tours. There was like a horror movie house, and in every room he kept shouting "honeymoon is ahead," and they put us at the front so everybody like let us have it, and I loved it. Like knowing that they can't touch me, but I'm being absolutely terrified is like the exact sweet spot for me. How about you, Beth? Like, is that something that you would pay money for?
I am very much a scaredy cat, and I would just not like. If anyone's familiar with the start of the what's it called now? One of the rides at Alton Towers, the Wickerman ride.
All right.
When you're put into like a room like sardines and things speak to you, I have to skip it.
Oh god.
I'm claustrophobic, so it gets me. So I feel like I'm just a flat no for like anything like that. I'm like kid level. I can
love
do
ghost and ghost tours and all that.
Ghost tours and everything is fine.
I love anything jumping out at me. I'm going to punch. I love because that's my instinct too. To protect myself or everyone around me. I'm going to take charge. Is that what I'm going to do, and get everybody out safe.
So what we're saying is that Sharon and Paula would be like the elves of the situation, and me and Beth would be the run and hide and cry.
We'd be protecting you. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
I'd be there enjoying it, but I would be useless. Like the irony of me writing all these kick-ass female characters when I'm pathetic.
We'd be there like breaking up chairs and handing legs to people. Like, you know, if someone comes at you, batter it.
Exactly.
The only reason that Mina and Libby have got any agency is one of my early beta readers used to be in the military. Hannah is absolutely brilliant. And she was kind of pumping me up and like, come on, they need to have a bit more get up and go. And I was like, can't they just hide and run away? No, they can't. Come on, they're main characters. I definitely wouldn't be a main character. I'd be like a pathetic, killed in the first
Good
scene.
shoes. That's the advice to anybody. Don't leave the house in stupid shoes.
Poor Mina
because
keeps
you need to
getting
be able
like,
to run.
she keeps being barefooted in that's why I did that. I was like, yeah, barefooted in the with a summer dress on is about as much as some of the characters get in horror movies, isn't it?
So that just reminds me of I know what you did last summer with the like Helen Shivers, where she's running around in like the dress and no shoes.
Yeah. Doesn't she even have the crown on as well at one point? I was like,
I mean, she should have died first. In that film, she should have died first. I'm surprised she lasted as long as she did.
Because she
died first. She died first in the Scream remake. Well, one of the Scream. Yeah. She died first in there. It's fine.
I'm always really angry when I'm angry when she's not Buffy and she's not like really fun and tough. I'm like, come on, find the Buffiness about yourself. You can do it.
I did love her as Daphne though. I thought she was great in Scooby Doo.
Oh, her and her hubby together. It's super cute, isn't it? So I think we're getting close to the end of the question. So Kev, if you're listening, it might be a good time to pick some winners. And I'll get the book plate sent out. I've got 3 of these babies to give to people who are in the chat. So I was wondering what books you would recommend for people who enjoyed this one. I've already mentioned one of mine, and Last Girl by Golden Moldovsky. Very heavy on slasher vibes, horror movie references, twisty-turny, fast-paced. A little bit longer though, so I feel like maybe, you know, where like that room to develop that we wanted, it has that. I also really liked Welcome to Camp Killer by Cynthia Murphy, which is the opposite end of that. It comes out this month in a week or so, I think. It's a Barrington Stoke book, which is the dyslexia-friendly publisher for anybody who doesn't know. So it's quite short and sort of simplified in a way, but really well done. Like Cynthia still manages to pack a punch with that one. And it's a really quick read, so if you want to add something longer and meaty, you've got Goldie's book, and then Cynthia's. I'm pointing at the magazine off my shelves. You've got something shorter that's really fun. I could have done with having them in front of me, but I'm not organised enough. So anybody else got a recommendation that they'd like to jump in with?
I did have one, but it's fallen out of my head.
Have you got one, Sharon?
I've got a few.
Beth, while Paula's... Beth, do you want to start while Paula's thinking?
Wilder Girls by Rory Power came to mind, mainly because of the like female friendships and relationships.
That's more body horror though.
Yeah, it's quite different in a lot of ways, but it does have like fantasy.
Who was that?
Somebody just roared on one of the videos. It wasn't mine, I swear. Sorry, Beth. So The Wilder Girls, I still haven't read that. I have it on my shelf, but I'm like nodding along because from what everybody's told me, it's got that really strong group of people in it.
Yeah, I think that element of this reminded me of Wilder Girls. It is horror, but it's very different horror. But the female kind of friendships in it kind of reminded me of Wilder Girls.
Nice. I need to read that. I'm looking longingly at my horror shelf now. I'm going to pull that one down when we finish this. How about you, Sharon? I feel like you might have a few recommendations for us.
Well, I was thinking more YA rather than adult, because if I was going to go for adult, then I would recommend They All Died Screaming by Christopher Triana, but it's extreme horror and it is a proper slasher, and everybody gets hurt. That's brilliant.
Yeah, remind me of that at the end because I wanna try that.
It's really, really good. Christopher Triana is brilliant. Prettiest Girl in the Grave is fantastic. But anyway, aside. If I was going to go for YA, then I would probably go for Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez. I think it's a really fantastic book. Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar, also fantastic slasher vibes.
Yeah.
Loads of high school kids getting slaughtered in a cornfield. I mean, what more do you need, really? And then this one, which I've actually got Horror Hotel, which I don't know if anybody's read this, but it's actually a really good YA little thriller. And he's set in like what is equivalent to the Cecil Hotel, in LA, and they get caught in a serial killer's room, a serial killer ghost room. It's really, really good, and it's really easy to read. Great cover, isn't it?
Great
Yes.
cover. And it's following YouTubers.
It is. They're YouTubers, and they go there to find out if it's really haunted. It's a really good, fun read. Very similar to what we've just read.
Okay, need both of those that you said, the extreme one and the YA one. And what was going to say, it's completely gone on my head. Paula, do you want to give your recommendation? Oh, Camp Saw, that's what I was going to say. That's on my TBR this month, so I'm excited
It's such
about
a good book. Such a good book.
Excellent. How about you, Paula? Did your recommendation come back into your head?
No, I mean, I feel like I can say like Mexican Gothic.
Yeah.
Because it has that kind of, even though I didn't personally like it, it did have the like undercurrents of like strange supernaturally stuff happening. Coraline by Neil Gaiman as well. But
I love that book.
Such a good book. But no. I mean, I did recently read like, the Final Girl Support Group.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. And obviously with it being, I'm a final girl. That's probably the one that I was thinking of that I couldn't remember.
Yeah, that's Grady Hendrix, adult one for anybody who's interested. Yeah, I did enjoy that one.
And you've got
one of
Taste
the
Like
ones...
Candy on your TBR, haven't you, Amy?
Yes,
Taste Like
I
Candy
have.
is a slasher.
I
so that's a really good one.
Yeah, my whole TBR this month pretty much is like slashers that sound like they could be a B movie, because I picked up the Cotton Candy Massacre as well. I don't know what.
That's brilliant. And the next one is Cotton Candy Massacre Part Toots. Is even better. I read the arc of that one.
Yeah, well, I'm just really excited to read some really like B movie slasher stuff. I'm reading a really nice summary book, so I need to read that faster than get onto the slashers. So I think we've been around everybody's recommendations, haven't we? So I'm going to jump to the comments, and then we will wrap up the discussion. Yeah, I think some books I really can't help but pick until I figured it out, like the Truly Devious books by Maureen Johnson, if you want something that is sort of slower paced and not slashery, but has like a really good mystery at the heart and a really good group of friends. I can't help but interrogate her books until they're falling apart because I want to know. But this one, for whatever reason, I just like let it wash over me like a slasher film, kind of. I think sometimes in slashers, I do try and predict it, but I also get really immersed in the horror.
Also, the fourth one is...
Yeah.
The fourth one is set in a camp. It kind of like, it follows like the main characters, but it's like they've gone out of the school environment and they're actually at a camp where something has happened. So if you don't want to read the whole like series, you can just pick that one up, I guess.
I should recommend that too, isn't it? Is it Box in the Woods, that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad it got
I agree with Katrina. I think that I expected it the other way around.
Yeah.
I expected those two to be at the end, but I expected the charity to be the one that was left. And so I quite like that switch. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, and I didn't expect it to work either. Like, I didn't, when she was going to go back and do it all, I was like, yeah, okay, that's what's going to happen. So I predicted it just before, but I didn't see it coming until that point. I thought that was really good. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah. There was a lot of that feel, like the kind of the sillier feel that it got at some moments, because the Scooby-Doo villains were sometimes real, weren't they, and sometimes not. Like they trample off the mask and they can't. Like, I did get that feeling with the owl. I was like, is this an actual owl or is this a person? I think it worked. It's sort of, although there's always stuff, isn't it, that you can say that you would do it this way or that way. I think that what she went for, like all the ingredients were there, weren't they?
I would just like it to have been two separate books and to be able to round it. It's just me being greedy. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we all want more, don't we?
Do you know what I mean? I want more.
Wanting more gore.
Yeah. I can understand that. I didn't know they did immersive experiences, but that sounds terrifying.
You're on our team, Amelia. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, honestly, we're outnumbered, Beth, I think. Please put Amelia, Sharon and Paula at the front of the side. So, yes, I'm excited. I'm going to bump that up the pile, I think. Oh, a lot of people have mentioned that to me. Have any of you seen that?
Yes.
No.
I feel like it's come up on other chats before. I don't know if it's you that's mentioned it.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah, I didn't find it scary, but I found it thrilling.
Okay, I need to pick that up. Although I probably will find it scary. Let's be honest. Jen, Katie, and Amelia, you have won some signed book plates. Yay! I will put them in the post for you. I'm hoping they won't get lost because I think we're all on the same continent. So, oh no, I don't think Jen you are. So yours might take a little longer. Oh,
that was my husband. He's chained up. Don't take any notice. Just ignore him.
Just throw in food every once in a while.
I was going to say, are you feeding him all the baby Ruths that he needs then, Sharon? You know, got to get a Goonies reference in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's mainly food for the cats.
Oh, I thought I ordered that. Went as far as putting it in my Waterstones basket, and it didn't ever arrive, so I clearly never did order it.
It is a camp setting, but I really didn't like it.
Oh, it's a shame.
It does have those vibes, though.
Yeah. Oh, nice one, Katie. You can pop me your addresses over. Summer camp sounds interesting. Yeah, you would love that.
Cornfield is great fun.
Definitely, it's perfect this time of year as well. Yep, and there are 2, so if you like it, you can get on to the second one.
Yeah, the second one's out now. Friendo returns. Friendo something. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Carrie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it your first read of that, Katie? I hope you're enjoying it.
I read that when I was 7. It says a lot about me, that does really.
That actually kind of explains it all, that you started at that point. If Carrie was your starting point when I was reading like point horror, then that explains.
You've got to remember in the 70s, you didn't have the choice. In the 70s, you had Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew or Stephen King. James Herbert and Clive Barker. That's what you had. And there was no trigger warnings. There was no, you didn't have any parental supervision. You were left to it. So I lent Carrie from the library on my mum's library card.
My parents were good with that, actually. Their opinion on like popular culture was if I could cope with it, I would cope with it, and I would tell them if I didn't like it, and that kind of saw me through. Again, might explain a lot, Sharon, but I was fairly given quite a bit of freedom.
Yes, no. I have Stolen Tongues.
Have you read it?
Yes. It starts off great.
Oh,
carries on.
Yes. Amelia and Katie need to get on Clan of Cornfield, definitely.
The first chapter, the beginning of Stolen Tongues is one of the scariest things I've ever read.
Oh, really? Oh, that's high praise from you, Sharon.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it didn't scare me, but it was, really disturbing. If you please check the triggers on that. There's a lot of triggers in that book.
I really enjoyed that. I love the format of it. It's like an IKEA catalogue set in a haunted IKEA style store that's definitely not IKEA. Grady Hendrix doesn't want to get sued, clearly, because it's IKEA but not IKEA.
Well done.
Enjoy.
Yes, Katrina. I love it. Great, Katrina. It's such fun.
Oh, I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for the screaming and roaring coming from Sharon's house.
It's all because he wouldn't let her get the spider.
It's just thematic. You're just really committing to the theme of tonight's talk, Sharon. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
He's just had a lovely roast dinner. He's proper spoiled.
Oh, yeah, we know. No, I don't think that just needs to be on your bio, Sharon, honestly. So that about rounds off the chat. Thank you so much for people on screen chatting to me, Beth, Sharon and Paula. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Well done, the 3 people who won your book plates. Please drop me your info. You can either email me at minaandtheundead@gmail.com or message me on socials. I think we all follow each other, probably. I usually do follow everybody in these chats. We are reading one of my favourite YA horrors, Anna Dressed in Blood. Yay! Sharon's on it. This month, I'm going to interview Kendara Blake towards the end of the month as well. I've already interviewed her about the Buffy books, if you want to check that out. But we didn't talk that much about Anna because we were concentrating on Buffy, so I can't wait to chat to her about this.
Also, Anna Dressed in Blood's older one. It's like it feels like in Nightfall and You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight have been like new releases, kind of.
Yes.
Anna Dressed in Blood is older.
Yeah. And I went rogue and I picked it, and I've picked next month's actually, which I'll announce shortly.
I'm
Because
tempted to get a new copy because the new copy looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Mm.
You know, it's got the extra bonus material in it.
Yeah.
So I am tempted to get that one.
Yeah, it comes out, I think, it might come out the same day as mine, 14th of September rings a bell. It's certainly middle of the month-ish. It might be slightly different, actually, because US dates sometimes a bit different, aren't they?
My
But yes,
September TBRs annoy me because I've got 4 books coming out on the 14th of September.
oh yeah, sorry about that. Rude of us to all try and aim for spooky season. You see what the publishers were doing there.
It must be a popular day.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you Amanda, for coming on. Thank you.
Speak to you in a bit, Mills.
Yes, they're so good. Okay. So everybody can come and chat along with us. We've set the date, I think, for beginning of October to chat about it. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And look out for the interview with Kendara, which will be later on this month as well. So thanks, everyone. Whoops, sorry, knocking everything off my desk. Thank you for coming on. As always, watch out for sprints. I'll be sprinting every Thursday and intermittent other days. So yeah, hopefully we will catch you on the next chat. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.